So there have been some important developments this week in China, and we want to talk about them today because they could very well have an impact on us here in the United States. We've been watching what they call the National People's Congress because it gives the world insight into China's agenda for the year. And I want to bring Zachary Karabell in, the president at River Twice Capitals, also the author of Superfusion, How China and America Became One Economy and Why the World's Prosperity depends on it, which is actually perfect, Zachary, to kind of lead us into this conversation, I guess, in a lot of ways, because China's economy has been struggling on a relative basis here recently. We'll flash up some numbers as we're speaking to kind of illustrate that point. And then they come out this week and give a fairly optimistic growth forecast. So they say, oh, we're going to have 5% growth. And people are saying, did they go too far? And if they are overly optimistic, what's the impact? What do you say?
So first of all, I wrote that book 14 years ago, and in many ways, the coexistence ship, I think, has sailed and not in the right direction. So here we are in a kind of a neo-nascent Cold War with China. And by the way, 5% annualized growth for China is not a good number. It would be a great number for the United States. It's a lousy number for China relative to their expectations and needs. And one should treat GDP targets in China as kind of ideas rather than numbers, in that it's not entirely clear what the data actually is. I mean, you can get a better sense of China's economic activity by having satellites look at how much lights are on or off, like electricity consumption. All that being said, it's not a good year for China. It was a bad year for China last year. Their zero COVID policy ended up having an extraordinary toll on their domestic economy. And they're definitely struggling. And the fact that the premier of China did not do it's not even really a press conference, but at least once a year, the premier would have a meeting with the press today. Right. And they canceled that.
Right. Not what we consider a press conference necessarily, but for them, it's a big deal that it comes out and, interacts with members of the press. What did you read into? What does that mean that it was canceled?
I think, it's yet another sign of just how much Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party want to and is capable of controlling the narrative. Right. They're not capable of controlling reality, but they are capable of controlling the reality that the government says is a reality. And again, their target of GDP really needs to be understood as this is a very low number for China. Mm-hmm. It's not a good thing. They've tended to surprise on the upside, and I definitely think everyone should treat expectations of China's imminent economic collapse with a huge amount of skepticism, and also not hope for it. I mean, you could feel like the United States and China are in a rivalry that the United States ought to emerge on top of, and also be very wary of wanting China to really falter dramatically economically, because they're a huge part of the global economic system.
And our businesses still do a lot of business with them. So whether we like it or not, I mean, that's not going to change or just completely collapse anytime soon. So you're right about that. And you're also right about the 5%. When China was growing much more than this, the numbers were much higher than this. And now it's funny to hear them sounding, to even hear a number like 5% out of China. I do want to ask you about the Taiwan, because there we do, I would suspect, have a rooting interest. The Taiwan comments, I'll put up a headline from Reuters. China drops the, quote, peaceful reunification reference to Taiwan. Significant? What did you make of that part of this?
It's significant if you're trying to read the tea leaves of future possibilities. And everyone does that relentlessly and monomaniacally. And I think it's a fool's errand to figure out whether or not China is or is not going to do something in 2028. People have this notion of there's a window of opportunity, and if China's economy gets worse, then Xi Jinping will use force to reunite Taiwan as a way of offsetting domestic opposition to what's going on economically. That's the narrative. That's the fear. It's all in the future. It's all skepticism. Right now, Taiwan's not declaring independence. I don't see the United States sending troops to die on the shores of Taiwan for Taiwanese independence. And I wish people would stop focusing so much on a possible war and focus much more on present problems.
By the way, just real quick before we go, our whole show we've been talking about the general election campaign being set in the U.S. How do you view the Trump versus Biden in relation to China? Are they more similar than different in a lot of ways with how they see China? What do you think?
Yeah, there's one area of bipartisan consensus in the United States, and it's that China is a threat and should be contained. Biden did not drop Trump's 10 to 25% tariffs. There's no sign that he is. Biden's actually tightened the whole export control economic engagement with China. So there's one area that the United States seems to be relatively aligned, and that is there should be less economic engagement with China. There should be more disengagement and more competition. I don't happen to agree that that's necessarily best for our economy and for the world, but it is where we are, and it's not an area that's going to be contested during the election.
No, not this year, for sure. Think about how different that is from when you wrote your book.
Yes.
Zachary, thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate it on China. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.